Determination, perseverance, and grit she utilized to follow her dreams. Born and raised in Franklin Township, New Jersey, she has been writing and performing spoken word since she was 9 years old. Years later, her powerful use of the craft is still being recognized by institutions across the world. I'd like to introduce the poet Queena Bergen and thank you on behalf of the IR department for accepting our invitation to visit our university. I would also like to welcome the chairperson of the Department of International Relations, Dr. Sherko Kermanj, as well as all the faculty members and students joining us here today on campus and on Zoom. Today's event will consist of 2 segments, and don't worry, I'm sure you'll enjoy each one as we have 2 new segments today. The first one being poetry, and the second one being IR Talks, which will consist of 6 IR students talking about their experience. Now, I would like to call upon the chairperson of the Department of International Relations, Dr. Sherko Kermanj, to the podium for his welcoming statement.
Thank you, Neda. Thank you. I just would like to thank the consulate of America in the UAE for helping us to organize this, and in particular Leila. And I would like to welcome Queena. Queena, you're going to be our queen today. And I would like to thank everybody who attended this online and on face-to-face. And I'm really glad to have Saif, a potential great poet, that he will be reading some of his poems today for us. So without delaying, I just would like to ask Nada to go ahead and tell us what's the potential for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, without further ado, please welcome Ms. Leila Shaubal.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your warm welcome. I'm Leila Schwabel, Associate Public Diplomacy Officer at the U.S. Consulate Dubai. I would like to thank the University of Sharjah for partnering with the U.S. mission to the UAE to organize this performance with American spoken word artist Queena Bergen. And thank you all for joining this creative session today. The U.S. mission to the UAE is proud to partner with Queena Bergen, who was part of the Emmy Award-winning public service campaign Black History is Our History on CBS. She recently published her first book, The Life We Chose, and last week she performed at the USA Pavilion at Expo Dubai 2020. We are especially excited to bring this program to you in February, which is Black History Month in the United States, a time to highlight the tremendous contributions African Americans have made to America's history and culture. I would also like to thank Dr. Saif Almutawa for participating in this program today with his poetry performance. Programs like this truly contribute to cultural exchanges between the United States and the United Arab Emirates. The U.S. mission to the UAE is committed to working with Emirati educational institutions like University of Sharjah to bring American speakers, experts, and performers to UAE audiences. We look forward to our continued collaboration with the University of Sharjah. Thank you again and enjoy the performance. With that, I will give the floor to Queena, followed by Dr. Almutawa's presentation and then questions and answers.
Thank you. So now for our first segment, please give a warm welcome to the poet Queena Bergen.
Hello. Hi, how are you all? Pleasure to see you. I am so excited to be here. It's my first time in the UAE. Can everyone hear me? Yes. I know, I get loud. Yeah, I get loud. Okay. Yeah, nah, probably not. Yeah, you could, yeah, for the first one at least. Awesome. So thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. One of the things that was supposed to happen here for the expo, so I was performing at the USA Pavilion, and my mother was supposed to come with me, but like because of everything that was going on, it was kind of difficult whether or not she'd be able to come. So she wasn't here. But my first piece is going to be dedicated. So much. Thank you so much. I always want to start off with the again. You need to. Yeah. Yes. No problem. Wait, actually, is this one on? Can I use this one too? Okay. I think I'll use this one because I'm gonna read from here. This. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Zoom. I am so sorry. I'm gonna work with you guys on Zoom. All right, thank you so much. So the next piece that I have for you all is actually called I Love Poetry. Now, I've been writing poetry, spoken word poetry, since I was 9 years old. So it's been a part of my life for a very long time. It's been my way to express myself, and I figured I'd write a little fun piece about how much I love it. I love poetry. You see, I can twist my tongue and turn thoughts into air. Proud to build the bridges of understanding so that I can break down the sections to make space for what this ground is, a foundation, for people to say whatever it is their heart desires. Tear down walls to renovate your own reservations, making room in the attic for whoever is your savior, saying grace at the dining room table with melodies swaying at the end of your sentences like kitchen beads. I love poetry. Folding vocal origami into magnificent shapes, surrounded by the greats who came before me, the pressure is on, so I can't slip. It'll be a piece of world history for my brothers and sisters. I bear witness that these characters can counteract your mistaken narratives, pointing a pen deliberately into my veins so that me and John Mayer will never have to wait for the world to change. I love poetry. Professing the forgotten letters in my soul, locally grown, the taste of the struggle. I remove the debris so you never have to bear with the rubble. Frequently fascinated by the way I calm these common verbal tendencies into similes similar for your own understanding, a secret untold of people unknown who's fighting for their life trying to make it their own. I'll protect you with the sticks if they cast in the stones, because this art will never die. That's the oath you were told. Stand true, because I'm going to do it till I'm old. Hold dear these metaphors on guard for my soul. Keep speaking as if my right depended on it. The fact is, we are all descendants of literary masters. So like you, like me, I love poetry. Thank you so much. So just like they said in my bio, back in 2019, I actually won a contest. Does anyone have Instagram in here? Everyone has Instagram, right? You should follow me on Instagram after this too. We're gonna talk. But so I was actually on Instagram and I entered a contest that was an Instagram ad, and it asked, it said like, hey, if you were to get a bunch of money to quit your job, what would you do? So I was like, that's a very interesting question to ask. I think I'm gonna figure that out. So after 2,400 entries, I ended up becoming the winner of something called the Day Job to Dream Job contest, right? And that contest afforded me the opportunity to quit my job as a software engineer at the time to then become a performance poet. Now, obviously in 2020, I was supposed to go on tour and then the world happened. And I think that as an artist, for any writers in here, I know that the last 2 years has probably been so hard because you're writing and you're trying to be an artist, but you're stuck inside of 4 walls. You never really get a chance to express yourself, to even find out whether the writing that you're creating is gonna make an impact in the world. And that's a scary thing because every artist just wants one thing, and that's to be heard. So I actually wrote this piece. It's called Social Cleanse, and it's basically directly talking to that isolated Queena last year. So I hope you guys enjoy this. My days blend together like watercolors. They can create the canvas of my circumstances, sometimes so perfectly that I can't tell Mondays from Sundays. I hope someday that'll change. Moments are mirages about as clear as the horizon in the distance on the hottest second of the season. It's the reason I blur the lines. Can't tell apathy from depression, blessing from rejection, gaining acceptance, they all feel the same. Took too long to notify the guards defending my mind that we've been infiltrated. It started off with gentle grazes, passive statements that moved in the wind. Now I have no time for losses or wins, too busy on comparative suffering. I don't even know when it happened. My hormones been like Trojan horses, bringing stronger forces than I could ever handle. An overstimulated disaster. Dopamine cleanses the only defenses I got now. Had to realize that the human brain functions on rewards and triggers that developers can program into you like neurotransmitters, held my attention for hostage. No resistance, no complaining. Modern day list of demands looked like YouTube recommendations. I was almost at their mercy. My therapist knows. I've been digging deeper than rabbit holes, felt like I couldn't control what's real anymore. I still can't tell. My intuition follows algorithms. I know I've made decisions that weren't mine. They belong to the voices of doubt that sprout every time I tried to put something out. They'd say, well, that wasn't good. Why does everything you write gotta be so deep? That didn't even rhyme. I'm trying to keep it together. I just don't know how to do it because there's too many side effects to always being aware, filled with so much of the world that I don't know what's going on in here. I haven't been content since I exchanged social for media. So now it's back to remedials. Reverse engineering is needed here. A change will come. I'm going to grow. I'm going to put my likes above the comments like an Instagram post. I want to influence kids, the ones who think that distance makes the heart grow fonder, but now home is where the office is. I will tell them to be dedicated to their disciplines, to focus on paying attention instead of getting it. I'm getting there. Lucky for me, I only have one of two options. Either I'm gonna give up or I'm gonna keep going because the days will blend together like watercolors and you'll still have to choose. So after that period of time when I was inside of my room and I wrote that piece out of isolation, it came to a point where I realized that in order for me to get to where I wanted to be, I need to take very small steps. I couldn't make big ones because I wasn't able to leave the house. So what I decided to do was that every single day I would write a new poem. And in doing that, my poems didn't have to be long. Sometimes I wrote haikus. I have plenty of one sentence poems. But every single day, I made sure I opened up my journal and wrote something down. And I realized in order for me to combat those issues that I was having as a creative, I needed to start writing. So in the scene, all right, everyone's been to an open mic before, right? Seen slam poetry at all? Okay, so here's one of the things, right? I'm just gonna show you some of the basics of how going through an open mic is. The classic thing to do is snap your fingers. Let me just show you snap your fingers. Everyone snap, snap. All right, that's simple, real classic, all right? The other, of course, traveled 7,000 miles. You can, hit with the hand applause. Let me just hear some claps. All right, cool beans. So this one is actually going to be a call and response poem, I promise. If we do this together, it's going to sound incredible and I'm here with you. Are you ready for that? All right, cool. So every time I raise my hand, I want you to say have to write. Are you ready? All right. We're gonna do this one more time. One more time. See, y'all sound great. This is gonna work out well. So today's the day I have to put my pen to page and rage over the thoughts I haven't expressed yet. Like the fact that I've been depressed in my bed for 5 days. So today I have to confide in these scriptures to be a well enough condition of my mental condition. Have to vomit metaphors, regurgitate similes, whether I'm nauseous or not, because see, maybe I've been moving in overdrive because my mind's been cluttered, filled with thank yous and goodbyes, promises and lies, your thoughts for mine. I'm tired. Not interested in the politics. I don't do the one-player games. The focus is on my people, being unity, a disciple and a teacher while right in this ether, because I have to spin cobwebs of wordplay large enough for Charlotte to climb. Build bars strong enough to match Bob's design. A belt round my waist got pencils that can erase the bad lines, because see, you can find me in the back of classrooms. What a sight to see my hands move the speed of light. Electrify this room and stage, gave birth to words that move the cage. It's safe to say you can watch the story come to age. I'll raise these babies happily. I'll meet them in the morning, warning them of what they will encounter. The naysayers, haters, and doubters will try to devour your power, but stand strong. Have fun on these tour runs, remain raw and honest, because you need to stand on your similes like your metaphors depended on it. I promised that I'd honor that challenge and write 365 pieces. So I'll continue to proceed with courage and passion because I know I need to. Oh, wow, you guys sound so incredible. I love doing that piece with everybody because I get to feel the energy in the room. So I started writing every single day, 365 pieces, and a lot of things changed for me. Just like they said in my bio, I ended up becoming part of something called the Black History is Our History campaign, which won an Emmy maybe about 2 months ago. So I was like blown away by that. And then of course, I had the wonderful privilege of coming to speak with you all. So thank you, by the way, to the folks over at the University of Sharjah, the US mission to the UAE for providing the opportunity, because I have never been on this side of the world. And even just experiences like this make me feel I'm able to live my dreams. This is actually very nerve-wracking for me. Now, not necessarily because I'm nervous to stand in front of people, but because as I get closer to my success, it starts to get scary. The pressure starts to increase, and I just don't know whether or not I can do it. So this piece is actually in reference to this idea. If you were to walk away from anything from my poetry pieces today, I had to learn that I needed to stop fearing success because I already feared failure. So this piece is called acrophobia. You know what that means? No? It's okay. I didn't know, huh? Oh, no, but you're close. So here's the thing. I didn't know what it means either. Whenever I write the title for poems, I use Google all the time, right? So acrophobia is defined as the fear of heights. So if you don't like roller coasters, we're all together in that one. So this one's called acrophobia. Since I was 5, I've been scared of heights. It's defined as acrophobia. One of the most common fears to plague mankind, it can lead to anxiety attacks, panic, and downright avoidance. It's one of the reasons I don't do roller coasters. I'm frightened before I even reach the front of the line. You know the butterflies? The ones that people say they get inside? Well, mine just take up way too much space. Playing games like craps, but it feels like they swap the dice with hand grenades. Adrenaline was never really my drug of choice. Never had a desire to do things like parasailing or skydiving. I'm not interested in dying anytime soon. Plus, everybody knows Queena loves to stand 10 toes. The highest I want to be off the ground is 5'4" and a half. See, you can laugh, but I'm not kidding. One of the worst decisions I've made in my existence was ziplining. A subtle reminder that I'm doing nothing more in my life than swinging from one point to another, because open air gives me a feeling of freedom that I don't believe that I deserve. And now I know why. It's because if I get too high, I'd be terrified to fall. You think that it would have something to do with pain, but that's not it at all. You see, I'm much more concerned with how much of me will be exposed once my body hits the floor. My concern is only in regards to the witnesses of my demise. See, I can't stomach the idea that I would climb this high only to reunite with the skeptics on the ground. Height is defined as the distance from the top to the bottom. And unfortunately, much of society does not judge humanity on the ability to ascend to the highest versions of themselves. So now this poem has a purpose to prove. To teach the youth that the sky can't be the limit, since there are already footsteps on the moon to take flight. Elevations that eagles would be envious of. Believe that no matter your position, you could say this with me. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. It is that we are more powerful beyond measure. Thank you. So, all right, cool. So I'm gonna wrap up with one more piece. If any of you guys are interested too, I brought so much goodies for you guys. I actually release a new poem feature every single month, right? And I actually have these my brochures, but I'll give each and every single one of you one of these brochures. Inside of it is a QR code. If you scan that code, every single month you're gonna get a new poetry piece from me, including a personalized message. So anybody who gets that is going to be getting something that no one else in the world is going to have. The only way you can is if you see me live and in person. So that's going to be like a little gift that I have for you all. And this last piece is actually a single that I have out right now called Bamboo Season. And it's kind of in reference to that ascension, that idea that like, I'm not going to be scared about heights anymore. So really appreciate every single one of you. So this one's called Bamboo Season. Late at night, I tend to spend moments working on expanding my mind by learning about things I usually wouldn't give the time. Tonight is no different. I decided to learn about bamboo. You see, they're a diverse group of evergreen perennial flowers, but they actually derive most of their characteristics from the grass family. Who knew? For generations, nations around the world has used its renewable source for food, architecture, crafts, clothing, and construction. There is literally over 1,500 different uses for this species, which then gives the potential to mitigate deforestation and climate change, but that's not the part that fascinated me. You see, bamboo farmers across the world have to ask if the plant known as the green gold is even worth it. Because once planted, could take over 5 years to break the surface. 1,825 days just to say you got something. But once they start showing, the bamboo is the fastest growing, capable in the right conditions of growing more than 2 inches an hour. Within 1 day, could tower the shrubs around it. How profound. That just when you thought it was over, after years and years underground, it found its stride again. Its ascension, an ode to the necession of change and progression. What a lesson for us to learn. That given your will, you can be stronger than still build houses in your name. Gain strength and resilience. It doesn't just worry about itself. It can dramatically help the soil around it. So now I'm hype about it. I'm entering my bamboo season. The seeds I've sown are the only ones I need to believe in. Because once planted, I'll never have to worry again. A permanent zen provided by my pad and my pen. I'm so focused on my roots that I can't tell you what the onlookers do. Because most people are like fences. They stand around gardens but never move. See, I can't take your advice. You ain't living bamboo. I'm living manifestation. Those who trusted their wishes will bring abundance, growth, and patience. You see, they are both the precursor to your period of unusual acceleration. So what are you waiting for? There's no time to play. Because yesterday was the best day to plant a tree. The second is today. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. I'm super friendly. We're also going to do a Q&A after this. So please, talk to me, say hi, all that. Thank you so much.
For starters, wow, that was actually very inspiring. Thank you so much for those soul-touching words. It was really eye-opening and captivating. Next up, we have a special professor who I'm sure you all love. Please put your hands together for Dr. Saif.
Yeah, sure. And then we'll do this thing. Okay. All right. Man, you always hate when the opening act is way, way, way better than the second act, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we'll try to follow as best as we can. All right, is this thing working? All right. Are y'all ready to have a good time? Great. I'm here to have a bad time. Nada, kill the lights. Nada, kill the lights. Nada, kill the. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So we're setting the scene here, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about the Koan, the Zen Buddhist riddle puzzle thing. I'm sure you all Googled it. Or is it the paradox of meaning and expression? Me and Hala were trying to workshop that title earlier. She said it was too pretentious, so we dropped it. A short history of ambiguity in Buddhism and beyond. It's okay, today we're going to talk about philosophy. What is philosophy? What is the purpose of philosophy? Are we though? What about religion? What's the purpose of religion? Well, that's an interesting, conclusion of intersectionality here, because Buddhism is part of what our agenda is going to be today as well. See, Buddhism is one of those religions where the purpose in purpose is very close to philosophy. It's the only religion that doesn't try to convince you that death is an illusion, right? Rather, it's a way to accept the irreversible change. And that's sort of what philosophy tries to do for you as well. Tries to, through knowledge or whatever, you try to learn something. But, religion is very, very easy like that. You just kind of have to believe in some things. And for Buddhists, what do they believe in? Well, what they believe in is that eventually you can end the cycle of birth, suffering, death, and rebirth, also known as samsara. You can achieve a state of perfect peace, tranquility, and harmony with the universe. And you can extinguish the fire of desire, hatred, and ignorance that exists within all humans, right? The gaining of true insight into impermanence and eternity. But I don't know if I can do that for you. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm just a guy. But what if I wasn't just a guy? What if, for example, I was a face behind a mask? See, this part of the performance came to me in a dream, so you can't criticize it. Thought I would put on a mask. Let's see if this helps you guys, maybe believe that I can help you get to nirvana, right? Because that's where we're all trying to go here, right? Hold on. Raise your hand if you're here to attain nirvana. All right. Okay, there's a couple of you. All right. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Most of you, mashallah, Muslimin, you're like, la. No. It's not going to happen, Chief. I'm trying to get to the real heaven, my heaven. All right. So now I'm a man behind the mask. I'm no longer your professor. I'm no longer somebody that you know. This is just a voice behind the mask. This could be anybody. This could be a spiritual presence, a divine presence coming from some place that you do not know, potentially, right? Probably not. But it makes me feel better. This is art, right? This is expression. You can be whatever you want. So let's talk about Buddhism and Buddhists. I'm sure you guys, have you ever seen a Buddhist before? You ever traveled the world? You ever been to one of these monasteries where these guys exist? Some of you. So quite a lot of them seem to believe that rhythmically chanting Om, that can get you like closer to nirvana. Honestly, I disagree. I've tried it out. It doesn't really work. But if any of you guys want to just, break into rhythmic chanting, try to keep it quiet. I'm like, I got a show going here. But once again, we're trying to get to nirvana. And here's where it gets interesting, right? Here's where we get to my performance. So Zen Buddhists, these are the good Buddhists, not these Buddhists, it's these Buddhists. Zen Buddhists, that's the one that I'm interested in. These guys have a very interesting form of expression. It's called the Koan. And the Koan is apparently the subject of today's performance. Hold on. I forgot. There's one more element to this. There might be too many elements to this. There might be way too many elements to this, but we're going to be talking about the history of the Buddha for a second here. Now, who's familiar with the Buddha? Buddhism? We've already talked a little bit about Buddhism. Who's familiar with the Buddha? That's this guy? Or is it this guy? Or is it this guy? They kind of did him dirty with this one, I'm not going to lie. But he looks pretty jacked in this one. This one's probably the best. If you ever build a representation of me, I would like it to look this jacked. My shoulders that broad. But we don't know who the Buddha is. We don't know where he's from, what his real name is. We call him Siddhartha Gautama, but you could read up on history a little bit. The further back you go, the more confusing history gets. We don't know when he was born, but we can make some guesses. What we do know is that his father hid him from the world because there was a prophecy about him, right? This prophecy where he would either unite all the tribes in India or he would start a world religion. He looked outside his carriage one day and he saw some of the poors in society, and he decided, I have to end all suffering in the world. So the lesson of all you guys, potential parents one day, don't hide things from your children. They'll figure it out. They'll just look outside the window. They'll see the truth, right? And so he decided to find the truth about this world, to end the suffering of the masses, right? Ladies and gentlemen, he was inspired by asceticism. Has anybody ever heard of asceticism? This isn't a lecture. I'm not trying to teach you anything. If you hear me teaching, just ignore it, all right? Asceticism, okay? Asceticism, you just kind of deny all of the pleasures in life. That's what asceticism is. He failed. It's not a great start for a prophet of a religion, is to, day one, you kind of just have a little snack. So all of his friends left him. But eventually, he attained nirvana while meditating. Now, how did he do it? The Eightfold Path, the Four Noble Truths. Look, this isn't a lecture. I'm not trying to teach you anything, all right? You can look that up on your own if you feel like it. You can also look up the Four Noble Truths of marketing. Study whatever you want. At the end of the day, I'm here to talk about koans. Can we get to the, Neda, can we please just move on? Can we get to the koan? All right, we're getting to the koan here. A koan is a riddle or puzzle that Zen Buddhists use during meditation to help them unravel greater truths about the world and about themselves. Now, this koan, it could be anything. It could be a tongue twister, it could be a story, it could be a riddle, it could be just one sentence. It's a brain teaser. The point is that there is expression, right? We're using language to say something, and then you, the human being that is receiving the signal, you interpret it and understand it however you choose. Zen masters have been testing their students with these stories since the 12th century. It's okay, we don't have to, think too hard about that. And also, if you're thinking about how can I translate this word, maybe I can understand more if I understand the etymology of the word, the history. What does it mean? If you translate the word specifically, what does it mean? Best I can give you is fair proposal. Fair proposal. Make of that what you will. So in contemporary culture, obviously hippies love koans. That's why I'm writing all these koans. It's because I am, hippie from the 1960s counterculture. It's okay. You guys are confused about it. It's fine. Eventually you'll get to know me a little bit better, but knowing me will not help you understand the poetry, right? Knowing who the Buddha is will not get you closer to nirvana. Knowing the person is not going to help you understand the meaning of the words, because the words take their own kind of meaning. But I assume that all of you guys are capable of attaining nirvana. Maybe try to achieve it. Honestly, I was expecting you guys to be a little bit more excited. Can we get, who's here to achieve nirvana, guys? Come on, can we get some, yeah, there you go. Gotta just warm up the crowd a little bit. You guys are ready to achieve nirvana, right? You guys want to get there. You guys want to be enlightened human beings, I'm assuming, right? I can help you get there. I am, once again, a voice behind a mask. I could be anybody, I could be anything, but 100% I can get you to nirvana. So let's look at some of these early koans. I'm sure that some of you are already achieving nirvana right now. Don't be loud about it. In the back, don't make any noise. If you attain enlightenment and you discover, you pierce the veil and you see the truth of reality, don't be loud about it. All right, everybody's gonna get there eventually. So here's our first koan. What is your original face before you were born? Some of these are real thinkers. You gotta give them a minute. All right. Anybody? You? Did you get nirvana? No? All right, we'll give it a second. What about this one? When you can do nothing, what can you do? All right, don't shout out the answer, brother. All right, I get it. You're excited, but everybody's getting to nirvana at their own pace, okay? Don't just spoil it for everyone. All right, two monks were arguing about the temple flag waving in the wind. One said the flag moves, the other said, no, the wind moves. They argued back and forth, but could not agree. Hui Ning, the sixth patriarch of the monastery, said, gentlemen, it's not the flag that moves. It's not the wind that moves. It's your mind that moves. The two monks were struck with awe. Obviously, that's an important part of the koan. If you don't say that last part, you might not get the nirvana going in the brain. All right, okay, this one's a good one. What's the sound of one hand clapping? Anybody get this one? I got this one pretty early, actually. This is the only party trick I know. I learned this when I was 5. حد قال لي الإيد واحدة ما تصفق. And I was like, okay, fuck. All right, okay. All right. If you meet the Buddha, kill the Buddha. Yeah, you got to think about it, right? Don't ask me why. Don't. Okay, one last thing. I'm not going to be here for the Q&A. I'm not answering questions, all right? The point of the Koan is that you think about the Koan, all right? You think about the Koan. Jeez. Okay, can you please enjoy this small collection of koans. These are koans that I wrote. All right, these are my koans. We're finally getting to my poetry. How are we doing for time? Are we doing for time? We're fine for time. All right. All right. I figured it out. You just have to work backwards from the end. It's okay. It's one of those thinkers. You just got to think about it a little bit. You just have to be fascinated by it. Oh, one guy got nirvana. All right, sick. All right. Nobody look. This one's my favorite. Dancing optional, but recommended. This one's gonna hit you later in the weekend. Don't worry. It's one of those that's like buries into your mind like a parasite. Don't worry. It'll get you eventually. But this one's my favorite. Less punctuation is the point. Dire critics are for nerds. You just have to be fascinated by it once again. It's a need more than a want. Magic is easy. Something short and to the point gets the job done best. I always win. You should try this one out. Okay, so you guys should try this one out for yourselves. Honestly, it works every time. It works every single time. Oh, speaking of works every time, this is guaranteed to work. Warranty sold separately. All right, so if this one doesn't get you to nirvana, you can definitely take it to the vendor, as long as you have a warranty, but okay. So just so we understand a little bit of historical context, when we're talking about koans, we said 12th and 13th century, right? So Lao Tzu was probably one of the first people to really kind of talk about this idea of rejecting meaning. But when we talk about the transmission of words, when we talk about finding some kind of spiritual meaning behind a phrase or sentence or words in general, as you can clearly see, Zen koans and Islamic history, so I was going to say Arabic theology and philosophy, but you guys, if I picked somebody that was before Islam, you would have been like, so instead I just picked the first Muslim guy. I don't care if you agree with Wasil ibn Atta or not, but I was going to pick Fakhruddin Abu Razi, but at the end of the day, I just settled on this guy because he was the earliest one that I could find. But doesn't matter. The point is we beat the Europeans because they didn't figure this shit out until 1951 with Ludwig Wittgenstein. So that's the important part, okay? And obviously with Buddhism starting as well around, like the 800 BC or something. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because we have Mr. Noam Chomsky. Anybody familiar with Noam Chomsky? Linguist and political scientist. I expect you all to be familiar with Noam Chomsky since he's a political scientist and you guys are ostensibly studying international relations, right? So what did this guy do? He told us that we were actually created or evolved, I don't know, whatever you believe in, the ability to express ourselves. Language is innate, right? This idea of sender and receiver, this is a two-way street. This is something we were evolved or created to have the ability to do. So what does this mean? What does anything mean? Are some ideas only transmittable in some languages? Can we ever truly understand each other? Does anybody know what I'm talking about today? I don't think you do. That's kind of the point though, right? What do we mean when we say things? What do words mean? right? If I told you that there was a sentence that could send you to nirvana, but you just have to think about it, would you do it? Would you think about it? Okay, I've given you like a bunch, so you got homework. But at the end of the day, we also have to understand that there are limits, right, to our understanding. Can we ever truly understand each other? Can we ever truly express each other? Does that mean that we should stop trying? I don't know. But we've already seen some very expressive people up here on this stage today. And no matter what they're saying, there's a powerful force behind that, right? You can feel their willpower. You can feel their soul. You can feel the haki. I don't know what you want to call it, but you can feel their spirit when they say something, when they express themselves. And how do you, as the audience, how do you interpret and understand this? What if I told you it could send you to nirvana? What if I told you that if you could understand even one simple sentence that somebody says to you, it can unlock all kinds of meaning for you? You just kind of have to put in the effort from your side. I'm not going to lie, some of you guys are on your phone. Some of you guys are talking to your friends. Some of you are chit-chatting. Some of you are making jokes. Some of you are trying to get it. That's great. But at the end of the day, communication is a two-way street, right? I can say whatever I want up here, and it wouldn't matter unless the person sitting in that chair in front of me is also able to absorb and understand. And it doesn't matter if you get me, as long as you get it, right? The death of the author. What if I died right now? Hold on. All right, this slide symbolizes my death. Okay, let's go with that. Hold on, I got something for you. Let's just say I'm dead, okay? And then, boom, this is my eulogy. Here lies the voice behind the mask, 2022 to 2022. He didn't live very long, but this is his funeral, right? The death of the author. All you have are the words that he left behind, right? He can't explain it to you. You have to put in the work to understand things. And sometimes that could be historically divorced from your reality. You might be reading about somebody that is 2,000 years old. And you have to get meaning from what they wrote, translated and transcribed 6 or 7 times from different languages, different manuscripts by lazy monks that probably weren't writing that well. At the end of the day, we lose a lot, but it doesn't matter because we create a lot as well, right? We, the receiver, create that meaning. It's not the sender. It's you, the person in the audience right now. You have the power. Trust me, you do have the power to attain nirvana with any of the koans that I've given you today. You just have to try. How do I know? I've attained nirvana sometime 3 weeks ago. Don't ask me about it. Once again, I'm not here for the Q&A, so 100% don't ask me about it. Don't come to me in class and ask me about it. Okay, you can turn the lights back on. Do not ask me anything. All right, okay. Take the mask off. All right, well, that was fun, guys. Thank you. That was a little bit better. Once I got off of the PPT, it got a lot better, I think. Okay, I'm gonna throw it back to Neda right now. Thank you once again. All right, nobody ever thanks the MC. Thank you so much to our wonderful host, Neda. Tireless job bringing people on stage, dragging them off stage. If they do badly, she has to kick them off stage. So I appreciate it. You didn't kick me off stage. That's always nice.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor, for your very intriguing words. Now we will be holding, okay. Now we will be holding a Q&A session for all students who have questions for the poet Queena Bergen.
Okay, I think it's on.
Thank you. Thank you. I just would like to thank you, Queena, again for the great performance, and thank you, Saif. I really didn't expect that. It was really great. I loved it. Thank you. And of course, I would like to thank the IR Society and Neda, especially the star of the show today. And we always, always thank Hala. Hala is always behind all the achievements of the department. So, Queena, I don't know whether I missed that part, or you remember you said that you participated in on the Instagram, participated in a competition and you wrote a piece. What did you write? Did you?
So I didn't perform that piece today.
But what was that? Because that's what we want to know.
So what we're talking about is the Day Job to Dream Job contest. It was sponsored by a company in San Diego, California. And the piece that I wrote was titled Dreams. It was the question that they basically asked in the Instagram ad was, hey, if we gave you $100,000 to quit your job, what would you do? And answer that question in 3 minutes. So me and my best friend and videographer over there, she's fantastic, went out and shot a poetry piece, and it ended up winning. So yeah.
So you're still not going to tell us what did you write?
Oh, you want me to recite it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're funny. He's like, I want more. So like, no, I'm not going to do that piece today. But what I will say though, is that the reason why I chose the pieces that I had today was because those were all written within the last 2 to 3 weeks. So it's kind of just one of those reiterations that I am going to keep writing and performing new content as much as possible.
Thank you.
But I can send you a YouTube link.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, we have the longest zip line if you are interested here in Emirat, in Jabal Jis, so you can go there.
I debated that and skydiving because I saw the one over the palm, but I'm just not ready for those. Not ready for that. Thank you very much for your question.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'd like to start by thanking everyone who spoke today, and by thanking the IR Society and the department for organizing it. I'd just like to ask you, you said that you've been writing for a very long time, and I think that's apparent through how skilled you are. But when you started writing at the very beginning, how did you move from just keeping those words to yourself to speaking them out in front of a crowd? As someone who, writes things in her notes app a lot and doesn't share them. Yeah, that's my question.
I think that's an awesome question. First off, I don't even want to sit down anymore. I think it's an awesome question. So I had a lot of issues with stage fright when I started. I was bad. I think one of the things that I had the most issue with, ironically, was looking at the audience. You would think that that was the easiest part, but I would get up here and be like, okay, my name is Queena. Thank you so much. So I think that was the hardest part for me. Now, I think I was very privileged. And one of the reasons why I started with the piece about my mom is that she noticed that fear in me when I was really, really young. When I was about 7 years old, I dealt with something called like selective mutism. Not going to get too much into it, but it's basically the decision that you just didn't want to talk. I felt like what I said really wasn't important, so I didn't really say much. So she ended up putting me in oratory programs, like public speaking programs. And she, in one word, forced me to begin talking and speaking, right? Now, I didn't initially start off with poetry. When I started writing poetry, again, I kept it to myself, very much like how you could be dealing with right now. So I think there was 2 ways that I was able to move past that. Number one, having people close to you who love you and appreciate you are always the first people you should start reciting poetry to, right? Because it's not necessarily about writing the greatest things in the world. It's just trying to get a little bit of courage so that you can write the next piece. So in order for you to get that, I wouldn't give the outside world that much agency over your feelings. I would talk to people who love you and who would enjoy the things that you have to say, right? So that's number one. Number two, I was blessed to grow up in the age of technology where I can now share my pieces to people all around the world and be able to get feedback from them as well. So those are the 2 things I would say. But like the first is talking to your friends and like, hey, like, let me try this piece with you, and open mics and things like that. So yeah, you should follow me on Instagram. I'll check out all your pieces too.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi.
First of all, thank you so much for your enlightening pieces. I wanted to ask, what kind of, was it scary, quitting your job and jumping off the cliff and just following your dreams? Or did you like deep down knew that this was something that you wanted to do from like a really long time?
That is a great question. So I'm going to be honest with you all. I'm terrible at having a job. Okay. I've had over 60 jobs in my life, and only one of two things has happened every time I got a job. Either I was fired or I quit. Right. So I was never much of somebody who was good at working the 9 to 5. Right. Although the job that I had when I left was actually one of the best jobs that I ever had. Like I actually enjoyed being there and developing mobile apps. It was super fun. I think that I was very, very privileged in my circumstances. Not many people get to quit their jobs with a 6-figure, sponsorship. So it was a little bit different for me. But I think that what was scary for me was that I was so open-minded. When I left that job, I was like, everything's going to work. Everything's going to be great. It's finally come. And like, I thought that I had reached where I wanted to go. And then the entire world changed, right? So I think that the scary thing for me was getting used to the idea of being flexible, that even when I thought I reached where I thought I needed to go, that I was light years away from where I actually was. So I think that was the scariest part about it for me. Rogan?
First of all, thank you very much. And I love the pieces that you said. They were really touching.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoy your time here in UAE. You're going to have a blast. And like Dr. Sherker said, I'm sorry. There are a lot of places that you can go and visit. My question was that, okay, when did you know that you were actually like successful and like you actually had like a lot of audiences and like people actually liked listening to you and like enjoyed, like you had people who actually wanted to go forward and be like, yes, I want to go listen to Queena's poem right now?
So I don't know if I ever felt like I got successful. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if that's like an answer to that question.